Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a good day. For anyone who read and or commented on my post the other day about when I was low-key shamed for buying men's shirts, I am wearing one of the infamous shirts talked about in that story. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can just go over onto my Facebook page there or I guess my profile, and you'll see this story. That's not really what today's video is about, but I just know that some people would ask, so I thought I'd put it out there. This is one of those shirts. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about why I actually stalled on starting my business, even though for years I kept talking about how I wanted to run a coaching business. And then for the same reasons why when I finally launched my coaching business, had my website, had my business page, had cards, why I still stalled on actually growing my business. Oh, hey, Melody. And the reason I want to talk about this is I've been seeing this theme come up again and again, not only in my business and like in resistance that I still feel in growing my business, but it's been a really big thing that's been coming up with clients of mine. I was actually talking about it just yesterday morning with a client of mine, and it's something that I hear a lot when I'm talking to people about struggles behind growing their business. And the reason I want to touch on this is a lot of the times we think that our inability to start or grow a business really comes down to a lack of skill or a lack of knowledge or lack of strategy. And in a lot of ways, that is true. You need to have a solid strategy. You need to have the skills. You need to have the know-how. But for most of us, we actually have way more skills, way more knowledge around what to do than we're giving ourselves credit for. And the thing that's actually holding us back is the thing that I'm going to talk about now. But I'm going to go back in time a little bit again, this would have been, I've probably been talking about starting a coaching business for maybe 9 years now, and I've been running it now for like 3 or 4, but I've been talking about running a coaching business for a long time. So for me, it wasn't a matter of not having clarity around wanting to do coaching. I had worked for a business coach, actually all through university. In high school, the school paid for me to get a mediation training, and I did coaching and mediation, and the school paid me to do coaching and mediation as well. Yeah, I worked for a business coach for 4 years in the company that I was working in and where I was a manager. A large part of what I did was coaching. That means that at the end of the day, the thing that was holding me back from starting my coaching business was in no way, shape, or form my lack of coaching skills. It was something deeper. And I got to this point where, again, I was talking about it all the time, and, very thankful for my partner who has known me for, fun fact, my partner at Amy, if any of you know her. Some people don't know this, but we've actually been really good friends since we were 12. So she knows me very well. And she, even though we weren't dating the whole time I was talking about starting my coaching business, she always knew I wanted to because it was something that I would talk about. And essentially what she told me in a really kind, loving way was to either shit or get off the pot. She told me that she either wanted to see me start my coaching business, or I realistically had to realize that this was just something that I was always going to talk about and that I wasn't actually going to move forward on. Again, at the time, being my partner, she knew what my life was like. She knew what my job was like. And she knew that in reality, I had the time to start my business. And for a lot of us, that's one of our things that we stall on not starting a business, but on doing anything, is this concept of time, this elusive idea that we don't have enough of it. That often, though, isn't actually the case, because if something is a priority for you, you will find time. So she called me out on the fact that I had time, that I had the resources, again, that I had the skill set, and I was even working for a company that was like very happy for me to pursue coaching and supported me and helped me actually do things while still in the company to hone in on my skills even more. And the reality of the situation was I was just so riddled with insecurity and fear and doubt that I kept stalling on something that I knew deep down I really wanted to do. And I know that for so many of us, that is why we don't do things. And so today I kind of want to give you some ways that I have personally overcome. And when I say overcome, that does not mean that they're not there. Overcome means to just move past. I still know that they're there. And like I said earlier in the video, I still feel resistance when I'm doing things and when things require me to push my comfort zone. But it's really about cultivating an ability to recognize those fears, insecurities, and doubts and do the stuff anyway. Because the thing that you want is worth more to you than giving into the fears or insecurities that you have. And so for me, a lot of the reasons why I stalled, again, I had this pressure of not being good enough. And this is sometimes, it's like the blessing and the curse when you're the double-edged sword, I guess, when you know that you're good at something and when other people know that you're good at something, that pressure to perform. Because what if I can't live up to my own expectations? Or what if I can't live up to other people's expectations? And so for me, that was a really big thing, this pressure, this fear of not being able to live up to this dream that I had talked about for so long. And not being good enough or not being capable. Again, what if I was really good at coaching people and they were just being nice to me? What if I actually couldn't do it on a large scale? Or what would happen when I would start to work with people who I didn't find easy to coach? What would happen then? And these were all of the thoughts and insecurities holding me back. I definitely had, and I will fully admit this, and it's very ironic because I'm doing a Facebook Live right now, but I have a fear around being seen. And that was what was holding me back before. And that in my business today is still the biggest barrier that I have to face. It's a hurdle that I have to jump through, or I guess a hurdle you jump over, a hoop you jump through. It's a hurdle that I have to jump over every single day. Before getting on this video, I actually had to go and watch a video, like a song that I really like, or it's a live performance of a performer that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But her performance was very inspiring to me. I find it, like when I watch it, I get goosebumps because I'm so inspired to pursue the thing that I love. And it's a musician and she's just doing a live song. So I had to actually watch that video before hitting like go on this because of my own insecurity, because of my own fear. I had that resistance. I was like, oh, do I really want to do a Facebook Live video? I haven't done a Facebook Live video in like 2 weeks, I think, maybe even 3. And a lot of that, again, still has to do with this fear around being seen. You might think that hopping on these things is easy for me, and I know that I'm pretty good at them, I think, compared to some people. But again, I could definitely know that I can improve, but that does not mean that I'm not scared to do something. Being good at something does not mean that you're not nervous or scared shitless to do it. Last week, I did a talk for Ottawa Fuck Up Nights, and I spoke probably in front of like 40, maybe 50 people, and that's not my specialty. And I was really scared. And people after my talk came up and told me that it was really great. I had some people tell me that it was one of the best talks that they've ever seen. And while all of those things made me feel really wonderful and encourages me to do it again, the next time I get up on stage, I'm going to still be scared shitless. It's still a hurdle that I'm going to have to jump in order to do the things that I want. And the reason I want to like acknowledge this is because a lot of the times people think that I'm giving you suggestions on how to grow your business, but it's easy for me and it's hard for you. And so I do want you to know that I struggle with fear and insecurity and doubt every single day. Every time that I post something, even the post that I made the other day about my shirt and the being low-key shamed, that was something that I felt a little uncomfortable about sharing. I had resistance. But I did it anyway, and that's really the important thing. So fears around being seen is a big one. Insecurities in my enoughness. Oof, this is a really big one of mine, is this constant feeling of not being enough. And, I could go deep into the psychology of why that is. And I know some of that honestly has to do with all of my years of being a closeted lesbian and feeling that I was never gonna measure up unless I was straight, and obviously other things too. And I know a lot of people struggle with this feeling of not being enough. And when you think that you're not enough, you don't really want to put yourself out there. You don't really want to be seen, because in your mind, by doing so, you're just putting a target on your back, and now everyone's going to know that you're a big phony. And so for me, again, I have a lot of insecurities in my enoughness. And that was one of the reasons why I stalled for so long on starting my business and growing my business. And again, still something that I struggle with today. So all the things that I'm talking about, these are not things that, I've wiped my hands clean of. These are things that still come up all the time, but it's about cultivating a mindset or a story that I tell myself about how I can still feel those things, but still move forward on the things that I want. These insecurities, fears, doubts that I have do not have to control my life unless I let them. They only get power if I choose to give them power. And I am where I am right now in my business. I'm doing this Facebook Live because I believe in what I want to accomplish more than I believe in my fears and insecurities. I care more about what I want to accomplish as well, because the life that I would live if I decided to be small and to give into those insecurities and doubts just doesn't really seem appealing to me, because it really would be a life that's not rooted in enoughness, because I'm not doing the things I know I could be doing. And then the last thing is obviously having a clear plan. Like stalling on my business, it's easy to stall on things when you tell yourself that you don't know what you're doing. And in a lot of ways, that's why I love doing what I'm doing with coaching, is because I'm able to work with people on both fronts. I'm able to work with people in helping them, again, also overcome whatever negative stories they're telling themselves or their insecurities, fears, and doubts, but then actually also giving a tangible strategy to help them move forward. And so those are the reasons I stalled for years. Today I want to give you like 3 tips essentially as to how I did overcome them to start my business and to grow it, but also obviously how I actively continue to overcome them, because like I said, these are still hurdles that I have to jump every day. They're not things that I've washed my hands of, but I won't say though that it's not easier now. It is easier to face my fears and move past my insecurities and doubts because I have momentum. The more momentum I've created in my business by doing lives, by public speaking, by posting more, by doing more talks, workshops, all that kind of stuff, it just becomes easier for me to keep putting myself out there, which obviously makes the resistance that I'm facing to be seen a lot less. But for me, my 3 tips for you is 1, you need to let go of the story around who you used to be, or you just need to let go of who you used to be. And what I mean by that is we spend our whole lives with ourselves. We know all of the bad things we've done. We know all the times we've messed up. We know all of their fears and insecurities and doubts and not enoughness. And so we know those things, and therefore we sometimes use those things to justify why we can't get something that we want, or we use those things to justify why we're not able to accomplish our dreams. And part of actually moving forward with your business or moving forward with your life in whatever way it is, doesn't have to be starting a business or going to the next level in your business, because usually the things come up at every stage, which is never fun, but kind of fun. And so you have to let go of who you used to be. You have to let go of that person. And not because that person is a worse version of you, or because that version of you, like that person's bad, but you have to let go of that person because that's not who you're going to be moving forward if you want to accomplish your big goals. And it's about also recognizing that the person that you were that got you to this point is great, because you wouldn't be where you are right now without that version of you having brought you here. But moving forward, you don't need to keep holding on to those insecurities, fears, and doubts that the old version of you had. And you need to recognize that who you used to be does not dictate nor determine who it is that you're going to be. The only thing that dictates who you're going to be is the version of you right now that's making that decision. And if you make the wrong decision this time around, that's okay, because every single moment that you have is a moment for you to make another choice on letting that old version or those old stories or those things that are holding you back, let go of those things, and you can make the decision to step into who it is that you want to be. And a lot of that is just like showing up for the version of you that you want to be. Show up for the life that you want. Show up for the people that you want. So, with me, with coaching, I want to help transform people's lives. I want people to feel empowered and motivated to do the things that they want in life. And for me, I also love money. Not going to deny that one. So being able to work with other business owners and entrepreneurs and help them not only step into and live this really great life, but also help them put more money in their bank account is a dream come true. I have to let go of my fears, doubts, and insecurities if I'm actually going to become a person that makes real impact in other people's lives. My post that I made 2 days ago about the whole shirt thing and being low-key shamed, I have had, not just in that thread of comments, but I've had so many people message me saying how what I said was exactly what they needed to hear. I had someone today say that they realized that they had been afraid of the shame that they would feel by someone else's opinion, and that fear was actually holding them back from making a really important life decision that they knew was best for them. But they were too scared to move forward because, again, they were afraid of being shamed. And my post helped them realize that that's what they were doing and move past it. If I gave in to my fear and insecurity and doubt 2 days ago, that person wouldn't have had that realization. And obviously that person's doing all their own work and they're doing the stuff and like all the credit goes to them. But by me showing up, I've allowed other people to show up and also step into who it is that they want to do. And you don't have to be a coach to do that. It doesn't matter what you do. But when you show up as who you want to be, when you show up for the life and the big goals and the big dreams and aspirations that you have, other people are given permission to show up too. And that is so powerful. And that's part of why you have to let go of this old story of you. And that's why you have to step into the version of you that you can become. And the version of you that already exists inside of you, they just need to be let out. The second thing is to really change the story that you're telling yourself. For anyone who follows me, and if you want more on this topic, I have a whole podcast dedicated to this. My podcast is called Changing the Story. So you can search that if you feel that you need to be able to change that internal dialogue that you have with yourself, or you need to change the story about who you are and what it is that you're capable of. The book that I'm a published author in, that's the name of my chapter, Changing the Story. So for me, this concept of changing the story is so prevalent in my life, and I want to share that insight with you as well. And what I mean by that is every moment that you live, you have an opportunity to rewrite the story that you are living. You have the ability to rewrite your future. You have the ability to rewrite even how you viewed the things that you've done in the past. The things that you feel shame over or regret over, the things that you're using to convince yourself that you're not good enough or you don't have what it takes. You can change that story and say, while I'm not happy with how that happened, I like who I am today, and who I am today is because of those things. And it really is, you have to learn to change that story that you're telling yourself, because the voice in your head is with you all the time. And again, going back to the post about the woman who low-key shamed me, if I had not changed the story in my head, because when she first said the comments, they hurt, and I was feeling very insecure. I was feeling very like, oh, maybe she's right. And then I got into this whole spiral of things around my own deep-seated insecurities, around not dressing feminine enough and all of this stuff. But I stopped myself and I said, no, I love this shirt. And I love wearing guys button-ups, and I like my style. And for the first time in my life, I actually love my appearance and how I look, and I feel comfortable in what I'm wearing. And I'm not going to let this person who has no influence or really power in my life change that. And in that moment, I could have given her power. I could have given this person who was trying to shame me power by saying, you're right, and I'm going to feed into this insecurity that I have. But instead I said, no, I get to choose one, obviously how I want to dress, but I get to choose who gives me power, and I choose me. The story in my head is going to tell me that I look amazing, and I'm going to believe that story, and that's the story I'm going to go with, versus the story that you're trying to imprint on me, which is somehow I'm not good enough, or that women shouldn't wear men's clothing, or whatever it is that she was trying to tell me. Because again, I don't know what she was trying to tell me. So you have to change the story that you're telling yourself, because otherwise every little insecurity or doubt or fear that you have around putting yourself out there to grow your business, or taking a risk, or moving, or whatever it is that you want to do, if the voice in your head is telling you a negative story, that story is going to become true. Whatever we tell ourselves inevitably becomes true. And the last thing is honestly to get support, to get help. It's a lot easier for us to move forward on our big goals when we're not spending every single day wondering, what do I have to do today to make it happen? And that's why there's a whole industry of coaches. So with business, obviously hiring a business coach. If you are wanting to make changes in your relationship, like a therapist or a relationship coach or whatever, it doesn't have to be a coach or a therapist. It could be a book, it could be a course, it could be just a podcast. It could be me today, before I hit record on this video, going and getting support from Maggie Rogers, again, who is an artist that I really like, and watching one of what I think to be the best YouTube live performances that I've ever witnessed. I got support via her by the story that I was telling myself about what was happening. And I told myself, you know what, I want to be more like Maggie Rogers. I think that she brings nothing but positive vibes and energy into the world. And so I watched that video to give me the motivation and encouragement to hop on here and do the very thing that I admire about her, but in my own form. And so again, getting support can come in different ways. It doesn't have to be like a business coach or a course or things like that, but you don't have to accomplish things on your own. And if you try like this concept of that lone wolf, lone ranger, it's very novel, but it's also kind of depressing and lonely, because at the end of the day, we are humans and we need other humans to connect to in order to motivate us and inspire us and move forward. So making sure that you have the right support. You want to make sure that if you're trying to become this person that accomplishes all these really amazing goals, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who believe in your goals. They might not know how you're going to do it, and they might sometimes question, is that the right thing to do? That's okay though, because these are people who genuinely believe that you're able to do the thing you want. Don't surround yourself though with people who are naysayers and who are telling you that you're not good enough or that you'll never be able to do that, because that's just their own fears and insecurities coming out. People who do that are people who are afraid that by you doing more with your life, it's only going to remind them that they have done less. And some people, unfortunately, want everybody to play small, because then they can continue to feel comfortable and they don't have to feel less than. And they're not less than. Again, it's this weird thing that they're telling themselves. So make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who support you and who believe in you and who see the best in you. And most importantly, they're also recognizing that who you used to be does not dictate who it is that you can become, that they see the potential in you on the days that you have a hard time seeing the potential in you, because that's really, really important. So this was a long Facebook video, but thank you so much for everyone who is watching. And again, if I can leave you with any parting thing other than a total plug for Maggie Rogers right here. She's not paying me, but go check out Maggie Rogers SNL Live Falling Water. I think that it's a really great performance, but what makes it interesting is that was the second video she did, or the song she did that night. The first song she did, Light On, she did an okay job. The beginning, you can tell that she was really flat coming out of it, and she says in an interview that they were having technical difficulties and she couldn't hear herself sing. And some people in that moment would have ruined the rest of their performance. That moment would have been, again, a story that they told themselves about how that was a sign that they're not good enough, or that's a sign that they're not ready for this. But what she did is she got mad. She was pissed that happened, because she knew that she could have done so much better. So in her second live song of the night, which is the video that I was watching, Falling Water, she comes out so strong. She hits her first note like in an insane way. And I'm not a singer. No one wants me to sing, but it's powerful. And what she did in that moment is she let this earlier setback not reinforce her not enoughness. She used it as a challenge to only prove herself more at the next opportunity that she had. And that's what I find really inspiring about that video, along with it just being a great thing. So I would suggest watch that video and look to people who inspire you and motivate you and feel like they light a fire into your ass, because you need more people like that in your life, because you're going to face resistance. You're going to have fears. You're going to have insecurities. You're going to have doubts along your road to building your business or accomplishing whatever it is that you want. And for those of you jumping in late, I know that because I feel that resistance every day. I have insecurities, fears, and doubts every day that pop up. And it's just about learning to move past them. You can pay homage to them. You can thank them for being there, but that does not mean that you have to give them power. So I hope that the end of this video made sense, because I kind of just went on a little ramble. But I hope that you guys are all having a good day. If this is something that you want help with or support with, you can always reach out to me, whether it be about business or not. If you're looking for support in particular to your actual business, then I'm going to drop a little link that you can schedule in a free call with me, because like I said, I really just want other people to be able to play big in life, however that means and whatever that means to you. And I know that it's not just about having a really awesome strategy and step-by-step plan, and that's important, and I provide that, but it's also about working with people who recognize that fears, insecurities, and doubts are real things, and they're actually going to hold you back. And that in my case, part of what I want to help you do is move past those things, so that you don't have to, not accomplish the goals in life just because you're afraid of them. So as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.